Okay, so just ahead of the matchup with Kansas City, Darius Slay sounded off on the Eagles and Chiefs' perceived rivalry, while he and others also explained what's going to make this game so tough for the Birds, and that includes Kevin Byard, who reiterated what makes Travis Kelce so difficult to stop. But regardless, safety Reid Blankenship says he's ready for the matchup, so can he and Byard stop Kelce? Also, Nick Sirianni gave a shocking update on Dallas Goedert's injury, and it seems like he could be back earlier than expected. And finally, Cam Jurgens is back, and he seems ready to help give the Eagles' run game a huge boost, and so is Jalen Hurts. So how far will that all go in helping the Eagles take down the Chiefs? We're going to talk about all that and more news in this video today, so let's not waste any time and get straight into it. So heading into this Monday night matchup with the Chiefs, one Eagle is set to make history, and that is the Philly legend himself, Brandon Graham, as BG is set to play in his 188th game as an Eagle, which will tie David Akers' record for the most games played in team history. So congrats to Graham on that amazing accomplishment, and hopefully his 188th game will turn out to be a win. It definitely won't be easy though, as this is a huge matchup between possibly the top two teams in the league that just met in the Super Bowl last year, and with that and them meeting for the third year in a row now, in addition to all the storylines in this game, plus just all the anticipation building towards this matchup, some people are starting to see the Eagles and Chiefs as a new rivalry, but Darius Slay doesn't see it that way.
It's not no rivalry game. People think it's a rivalry or something like that. This ain't a rivalry. It's not like to get back at the Kansas City Chiefs, because they ain't got nobody. They ain't got the same players on their team they had last year. And we don't got the same people we had last year. So it's not like a rivalry game. It's more of a like, new introduction to each other. So we're gonna go out here and play ball Monday night and have fun doing it.
I really do think that that's the correct mentality to have. I mean, you never want to make the game bigger than it is, and despite certain players earlier in the week saying that they do have some extra motivation for this game for various reasons, it seems that the Eagles and Nick Sirianni have done a very good job making sure the mentality of the team is in the right spot, as all week headed into the Super Bowl rematch, they've pretty much all echoed the same message.
We're not going to win a ring on Monday night.
You ain't going to get no ring for winning this game.
I know I'm not going to get back that championship. I'm not going to get rings back.
Last year was last year. You know, they can't get back that ring.
They're not giving us their ring back if we beat them this week. I mean, that's more of like, hey, we're not going up there to win the Super Bowl. We're going up there to play a good football team at a hostile environment, and looking to get better this week to put ourselves in position to go 1-0 this week.
So once again, this is another example of great leadership by Nick Sirianni, as he's made sure that all the hype of the Super Bowl rematch doesn't become a distraction, and he's just making sure the guys are prepared as if it was any other regular season game, which it is at the end of the day. And like he said, one of the elements of this game in particular is that it's going to be a very hostile environment, so Sirianni's making sure his guys are ready for that as well.
Yeah, it'll be rowdy. It will be really rowdy. We know that. We understand that. Every time you go there, you have to prepare for the noise, and that's our weekly process throughout the week. We had it up loud, the music during practice, and we'll be ready to go with our snap counts and with our communication.
I mean, you gotta give Sirianni credit for always preparing his guys for everything, including the elements. As with rain in the forecast for Monday night, he's making sure the players are prepared for that possibility as well, as seen in this clip where water is being thrown on Britton Covey as he's trying to catch a punt. So big thumbs up for Sirianni's attention to detail and willingness to do anything to get his guys prepared. I mean, I gotta think that's been one of the reasons he's been able to have so much success as a head coach. And of course, in addition to winning, one of the staples of the Sirianni and Hurts era in Philly so far has been an elite running game, so that's why it's been so surprising that the Birds have struggled to do that over their past 5 games. But now with the return of right guard Cam Jurgens, as he was officially activated off of IR, all that could change. As with Jurgens in the lineup, the Birds have averaged 165.25 rush yards per game, while without him, that number is down to 101.2. So getting him back is definitely going to be a big boost, and he seems ready to go after using his timeout to watch other guys and learn even more.
Yeah, I think it helps, watching guys and helping coach and staying involved in the meeting. Since I was out rehabbing, trying to get everything healthy, I was trying to stay mentally sharp and being in the meetings and helping the guys that are out there doing what I can. So I guess seeing it from a little backed up spot.
I definitely like the sound of that, and it certainly seems like the run game is on the verge of getting back on track, so maybe Cam's return combined with the fact that Jalen Hurts is now much healthier and can probably run a little bit more effectively, we'll see the Eagles get back to having the same amount of crazy success on the ground that we saw from them early in the season. Although I will say right now, I would still be careful with the amount of times they decide decide to run Hurts, because whether it's when he's scrambling or in the pocket, I just want to see him take the least amount of hits as possible. I mean, the last thing I want is for him to re-aggravate his knee injury, so the Eagles' offensive line has got to be ready to make sure that Hurts is protected against this tough Kansas City pass rush, which is made even more difficult to stop by the fact that they're super creative with how they get after the QB, and DeVonta Smith spoke to this in a recent press conference.
Still a lot of exotic pressure, so try to make sure they can create pressure and things like that. You never know where it's going to come from. Could come from the safeties, could come from the corners, linebackers. So they keep you on your toes. Make sure that you know what you're doing. You may think it's coming from one place because the guy's on the line of scrimmage or something, and next thing you know, he bails and somebody else comes.
I think just in general, it's pretty evident that this Chiefs defense is going to be a real challenge. I mean, on top of their creativity and sending pressure, they've been really good on the back end this year, as they have one of the best pass defenses in the NFL. Luckily, the Birds have one of the top QBs in the game and 2 elite receivers to counteract that, so something's got to give in what will really be a challenging matchup for both sides. I will say, though, it definitely does hurt the Eagles that they won't have Dallas Goedert for this game, as he obviously is currently dealing with that forearm fracture that he suffered versus Dallas, which we initially thought would end up landing him on IR. However, as of now, the Birds haven't went ahead and made that roster move, and on Friday, Nick Sirianni actually gave us a rather promising update on Goedert's injury status.
We have high hopes that that Dallas is going to be back. Again, I don't know when. I think that's unfair to Dallas, but yeah, there's a reason he's not on IR yet.
So that's definitely great to hear. I mean, judging by that, it certainly seems that Goedert will be back sometime soon, but going back to this game specifically, it still definitely sucks that the Birds don't have him, so A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith may have to step up even more, and then other players as well are going to have to be ready to make bigger contributions than they were earlier in the season, so I guess we'll see who can step up the most without Goedert, but again, not having him definitely makes this game a bigger challenge for the Eagles offense. But the defense definitely has a huge test too, but based on some recent comments, the players seem to be ready for it, so don't worry, we'll get to that in just a minute, but real quick, I want to say, if you are enjoying this video or finding it informative in any way, and you're part of that 75% of the people that haven't done so already, go and subscribe right now, and also really importantly, turn on notifications so you see these videos right when they drop. I think it's a win-win. I mean, I get more people watching the videos, and you don't miss any of this Eagles coverage, so again, make sure you go hit the subscribe button right now, and with that being said, let's get back into the video. So the Birds defense has just about the toughest challenge they could face QB-wise in this game in the form of 2-time MVP and 2-time Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes, and with the struggles the defense has had this year at times, they definitely need to come into this game versus an absolute legend and play their best. And cornerback Darius Slay knows this, as he absolutely praised Mahomes when asked about him.
I mean, everything makes him great. He does everything in a great way. He continues to keep playing this game at a high level. Sky's the limit for him to be this. He ain't young no more, but to me, he still got so much game left. He ain't even reached his double-digit years of playing yet, so you can only imagine the records and stuff that's happening. He's one of the greatest ones. Go down as one of those. He continue to keep building this up. So yeah, man, he's amazing.
Yeah, that's very true. He is amazing. Luckily, it does seem like the Eagles' secondary is on the right track to getting better, as they're finally getting healthier, which will allow for some continuity. Plus, they had the bye week to self-scout and see what they needed to fix, and defensive coordinator Sean Desai also recently said that he's definitely open to making some changes to how he's running the defense as they move forward. So all those are good things as the Birds try and fix their secondary issues. We kind of dove deeper into that in my last video, so if you want to go check that out after this video, you can. But one thing that would also go a long way in helping the defense get better is if Eagles' newly acquired safety Kevin Byard just simply plays better. I mean, Byard has been a star in his career, but in his first 2 games in Philly, he has struggled a bit. Now, we do have to remember that it's a really difficult transition to make, getting traded in the middle of a season and trying to learn on the fly like Byard has, but now after the bye week, Kevin Byard says he's much more comfortable.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling a lot more comfortable. At the end of the day, it's one of these things where, you get traded throughout the middle of the year, which a lot of guys don't do. You're learning on the fly. Sometimes you have learning experiences in the game to continue to help you develop in this defense and things like that, but I'm feeling really confident going through this game.
So that's definitely a really good thing that he's starting to feel more comfortable in this defense, especially since he has such a tough assignment this week in trying to cover Travis Kelce, and we talked about this in a previous video, but Byard had really praised Kelce as a player just a few days ago, and on Friday, he did the same thing.
He's just a really smart football player. Obviously, we know his route running ability. He's very savvy, fluid route runner, but I think it's just his intelligence of knowing he's seen a lot of defenses. He's one of those those guys who've seen, him try to get, teams are going to try to double him. Teams are going to play all type of different bracket coverages to him. So he knows how to find open holes in whether it's zone or also in man. And obviously him and Pat Mahomes have a great rapport with each other. They kind of just, they know what each other's going to do before he does it.
I mean, there's no denying any of that. Kelce is just unbelievable. He's a future Hall of Famer, and no matter who's covering him, it's really going to be hard to stop him. But with that being said, it seems like the Eagles' other safety in Reid Blankenship is really embracing the challenge of going against him.
Oh, he's a great player, obviously. I mean, he's a Pro Bowler, and basically, I'm excited to play against him. It's one of these opportunities that I get to have, and I want to take advantage of it.
I honestly love the attitude from Reid here. I mean, it's great that Blankenship is so confident and excited for this tough matchup, and honestly, the duo of Blankenship and Byard may be the Eagles' only hope of containing Kelce. I mean, considering that looking at the numbers, Reid has been the Eagles' best and most consistent DB in coverage this year, while Byard has had success against Kelce in his career before. These two are certainly the Eagles' best bet, so hopefully the duo is able to contain the future Hall of Famer on Monday night. And I mean, if the Birds could do that and force the Chiefs wide receivers to make plays, that could go a long way in helping them come away with the win in this game. Although honestly, regardless, this is going to be a really challenging matchup, and that goes for both sides. I mean, these are the #1 teams in their respective conferences for a reason, and it's undoubtedly going to be a battle, and me personally, of course, I'm going to roll with the Birds specifically by a score of 35-31. I do think it's going to end up being rather high scoring, kind of like the Super Bowl. That being said, what do you guys think? Give me your score predictions down in the comments, and also make sure you go down again, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you don't want to miss any more videos just like this coming in the future. And also, if you want to watch that video diving into how the Eagles could be fixing their secondary issues as well as more news, you can go watch that right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.